Hey, what is good, everyone? Queen Rosé just dropped an album. That shit about to go pink platinum. If you guys want to see my first reaction to it, there'll be a link in the description. And this song's pretty much about Rosé's past self versus her present self. And the whole song is supposedly a pick-me-up song to the fans, where in her words, she said that she wants it to be a song that Blinks could listen to when they're feeling down. The first scenes of the video is the meteorite crashing and we see the limo in fire. Now, this is pure speculation because I don't know for certain, but my guess is because Rosé in the promotions was talking about she had a tough time before writing this song, the meteorite might represent her crashing down from her high point, which she talks about later in the song, and then the limo on fire is kind of showing that she has the luxury life, but it's still very chaotic. And then we see Rosé in a very luxurious house, the chandelier comes crashing down, which kind of reinforces this theory. Then the verse 1 goes, "My life's been magic, seems fantastic. I used to have a hole in the wall with a mattress. Funny when you want it, suddenly you have it. You find out that gold's just plastic." Can we just talk about it? That's kind of bars, man. I think the beginning of that's pretty obvious, you know what I'm saying? She's living a lot of people's dreams out and she recognizes that, but it hasn't always been like that. She had a hole in the wall with a mattress, probably referring to her trainee days. I'm not sure how rich her family was, but considering she moved from New Zealand to Australia, I'm guessing she was fairly well off. And then her parents were able to fly her from one state to another state for her audition, so she's probably talking about her trainee days. But then she said, with all that success, you find out that your gold is just plastic, which I guess could mean a lot of like your materialistic goods aren't as valuable as you think they are. It could also mean the gold that she was metaphorically trying to get was really just plastic and it didn't really fulfill her at all. Or it could also be talking about the small things that happen to her as a trainee aren't really as big as the huge successes that she's having now. But in my opinion, I think it's definitely more the first two things, where no matter how much you have or however much you get, you're always gonna really want more, and that what you're doing now doesn't really matter as much as stuff that happens in the future. And during the intro, she stays in this like little luxury place, probably backstage before some like high fancy concert, and she's kind of stressing out or whatever. I think this really shows how it seems that she has everything, her life's fantastic, but she's still kind of stressing out, like she's throwing the roses, she's in this nice place. I think that's the gold's just plastic. That even though she's there with the gold, it's still just plastic and she still doesn't really know what she's doing, or she's still nervous, etc. Then she goes into the pre-chorus. "Every day, every night, I've been thinking back on you and I. Every day, every night." Now, when she's referring to you and I, she's actually referring to herself and her past self. Now, I think this gives a little bit of a love song kind of vibe that she said she wasn't trying to go for, but I think she did this on purpose to kind of give it that love song vibe, but then be about something else, which is clever. And pretty much just means she's always thinking about herself now versus herself in the past and looking back on all those times. And during this part of the MV, she's walking out of the theater, and then it has a clip where the opacity's down of her standing on stage. So that's kind of contrasting her current self to her past self. We could also look into this a little deeper and say that the outfit is black in her current self versus white in her other self, which would kind of represent like the dark and evil. Like maybe now that she's reached this level of success, that now she understands the darkness behind it and she didn't really need it. Maybe she feels like she wasted a little bit too much time trying to chase success, compared to her past self who was all white and innocent and who was really just trying to achieve the level of success. Then we go into the chorus, which I really like the lyrics on this. "I worked my whole life just to get right, just to be like, look at me, I'm never coming down. I worked my whole life just to get high, just to realize everything I need is on the ground." So you know Rosé be grinding, man, for 1 billion views. Okay, she be putting in the work, knows like 1 billion instruments, fire singer, fire dancer. So she spent her whole life thinking like, oh, look at me now, like look at future me, like I'm gonna be so great, you know what I'm saying? She's striving for her ambitions and she's never coming down. Rosé also said in the promotions to this song that at some times during her journey as a trainee, she was thinking, was this really for me? And she thought, maybe I'm thinking too far in the future. But then she got there and, you know, she never wants to come down, obviously. She worked her whole life just to get high, just to realize everything I need is on the ground. So she pretty much reached the pinnacle of success. What, 36 million Instagram followers, billions of views, millions of dollars, all of that. She's definitely reached the highest of the high. That's what the high is referring to. You know, she's high on life, all that good stuff. Just to realize everything she really needed was just on the ground level. You know what I'm saying? Like, she doesn't need to get up there for everything she needs. Which from the videos that we watched about Rosé, we can really just guess is her love for music and her family, her friends, all those kinds of basic things. She doesn't really need to be on that high pedestal for all the things that she actually needs. So right after the chorus, the producers just decide to flex the beat a little bit and Rosé is not talking, and we go into this little fireworks scene. Now I think the visuals with the fireworks is pretty much, it seems like she might be running away from the success. She might be trying to run away from the bright lights. But again, I feel like this is just to look cool. Maybe her life's getting too chaotic, but I don't really know. We go into the post-chorus, which is like the on the ground. Everything I need is on the ground. Nah, but they hear me though. Yeah, and then it goes into the ad-libs. Yeah, what's up? What goes up must come down. Nah, but they don't hear me though. You're running out of time. So I guess she's running away from the fireworks. Everything's chaotic, exploding behind her. She doesn't want to run out of time. She's running away from it. She understands that what goes up must come down, but she doesn't want to come down, as she said before. So she's really just trying to run away from it and keep pushing. And even though she knows everything is on the ground, she doesn't hear herself. I could be stretching it here, but she doesn't really hear herself. Like, she knows that everything she really cares about, her family, friends, etc., is always going to be on the ground. She doesn't need to be on that high point there. But at the same time, she doesn't want to lose the high point. So she's having a little bit of a self-conflict in her head right there. So just to clarify, she understands what goes up must come down. So she's really just trying to prevent the inevitable fall because she's at the highest point that she can be at. And that point's incredibly chaotic. So I'm guessing the music video is representing that, where she's trying to run away from the fireworks, which is obviously chaotic. And she's just trying to prevent the inevitable. And then also, she's also debating if her past self was right or her current self's motivations are right. And she's running out of time to really decide what she should do. Okay, so then we go into verse number 2, and can we just say, bro, Rosé, bro, she looks like a different person right here, man. Look at Rosé, man, so pretty. Hey, Rosé, what's good? She says, my world's been hectic, seems electric, but I've been waking up with your voice in my head, and I'm trying to send a message and let you know that every single minute I'm without you, I regret it. Again, this gives a heavy love song kind of vibe. You know, it's hectic in a good way, it seems. You know, it's electric, it sparks, that's always a good thing. But I've been waking up with your voice in my head, and I'm trying to send a message and let you know. Again, this is kind of seems like a love song type thing, but she's talking about her past self. So she's got a conflict between what her old self wanted versus what her new self wanted, which I'm guessing is her old self wants to reach the pinnacle of success, fame, money, etc. But her new self knows that everything she wants is on the ground. And then every single minute I'm without you, I regret it. So again, I feel like she's having some more self-conflict right there, because she's still referring to herself, I believe. But it also could be talking about what's on the ground, like her friends, her family, all that kind of stuff. So she could also be regretting spending too much time trying to grind and not spending time with her friends and family. I also think the video kind of lagging here. This is part of the video how it lags like this. I think it could be more, again, representing that internal struggle, the internal conflict that she's having with herself, or maybe the fact that she can't decide what she's trying to do, and maybe now she's drunk too much or something like that, and now, you know, she's blacking in and out, or she can't think straight, and that's why it's lagging like that. And then we go back into the pre-chorus where she seems to be wearing more casual clothes, but not really, and she's kind of walking around all sad outside the theater and stuff. My guess would be is that's again more about that self-conflict of what her past self wants versus what her new self wants, reflecting on should she be in the concert, should she not, all that kind of stuff. And then we go back into the hook, but this time we get a very, very interesting scene. Rosé with the biggest hat I've ever seen. I don't know how she supports her neck. That hat has to be hella heavy. And she's in some like kind of like stairway to heaven. Okay, I'm guessing that's a stairway to the top, the high point. I'm also not sure if all these girls around her are supposed to be Rosé as well, but they kind of look like her. Again, they could be her past self as like the angels or whatever, you know, the innocent people just trying to strive for success and walk up those stairways. And then Rosé's in the black, you know, the darkness that understands the top keeps on going forever and ever. You never really don't reach it. You always realize that the gold you're chasing is really just plastic, and you're trying to always just get to that gold. So the black outfits, again, might represent a little bit of darkness, and then it reinforces that darkness by says roses are dead, love is fake. Again, that could be a representation of her losing her innocence or something. Like now she knows that success just goes forever, and she's just in a never-ending rat race, but I'm actually not too sure what that means. So then again, in the post-chorus, again, we just have more fireworks. She's freaking out. She's sad. She doesn't know what's going on. Her life is chaotic. Okay, then we go into the bridge, man. And this part, bro, this is everyone's favorite part, man. This is Rosé, the successful Rosé, watching Rosanna. I'm not quite sure how to say that name, but it's written on the mirror. I'm not sure if that's the name that she went by as a rookie, or that's just her rookie representation. But the rookie is striving hard to achieve their dreams, clearly looking up to people like Rosé, and Rosé's looking down at them, seeing themselves in the rookie. It's a very, very cool scene. And Rosé's saying, I'm way up in the clouds, and they say I've made it now, but I figured it out. Everything I need is on the ground. Just drove by your house, so far from you now, but I figured it out. Everything I need is on the ground. Everything I need is on the ground. So even though Rosé's up in the clouds at the pinnacle of success, she figured it out. She didn't really need that success to be happy. Everything she needed is on the ground. She's obviously looking at trainee Rosé in the video, and I'm guessing that's drive by your house, like where you used to come from, and she's so far from you now. Again, literally because she lived in Australia, but also metaphorically, she now understands the success isn't everything, and that she's now much further along in her career, and she's no longer her old self. She's progressed, etc. And then in the video now we finally see Rosé happy. Then we see Rosé drawing her name in the mirror versus Rosania, however you say it, writing her name on the mirror, showing that they're really just one and the same. And then we just go into more clips of Rosé staring into our soul, levitating, and just do things that angels do, man. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe. I really do appreciate it, and I'm out. See ya.